an update in this Fani Willis investigation. She's the DA prosecuting Trump for alleged RICO violations in the Atlanta area, and she's under fire herself now for allegedly hiring a special prosecutor with whom she was sleeping. Her, quote, paramour is the allegation in legal papers, and paying him more than she's paying the other special prosecutors. That's the allegation. And then going to places like Aruba, Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take you. And he allegedly did. He took her to Aruba and to Napa and to Miami. And they cruised Royal Caribbean and some other line. And on it goes. All while he was getting paid by the taxpayers, thanks to her, and getting paid a lot more. I mean, $650,000 so far in the same time that she was earning only $200,000. So the allegation is that it's sort of like a vendor kickback scheme where I hire this vendor and I give him a pretty paycheck. And then before you know it, he's giving me extras that let me go to Aruba when I normally couldn't afford that on my DA's salary. So they had a hearing yesterday in which the judge did unseal the marital divorce records that Nathan Wade, the special prosecutor, is going through right now. As far as I can tell so far, though not all of it has come out, nothing new was learned. We already had received the headlines from the credit card receipts that his soon-to-be ex-wife released to the public, showing him buying the tickets for Fani Willis to Aruba on Royal. I mean, it's pretty, as evidence goes of an affair, it's pretty dead to rights. It doesn't actually show them sleeping together, but it's as close as you can get. And neither Fani nor Nathan Wade has denied an affair. Now, all of this, as you get even the New York Times weighing in with a report pointing out Fani Willis ran for DA with the slogan, "Integrity Matters," frequently pummeling the incumbent, her former boss, with accusations of ethical lapses. In a letter to Fani Willis just this past Friday, the county commissioner, quoting here from the Times, Bob Ellis demanded documents from her in an effort to determine whether county funds paid to Nathan Wade were converted to your personal gain in the form of subsidized travel or other gifts. On Saturday morning, Norman Eisen, special counsel for the House Judiciary Committee during the first Trump impeachment, who's been vocal in supporting this Georgia prosecution, called on Mr. Wade to step down, saying this whole thing has become a distraction. And the New York Times adding, at the very least, the revelations have raised questions about Ms. Willis's motivation for hiring Mr. Wade, a legal generalist who appears to act as a sort of player manager for the prosecution's team. A review of his more than 2 decades as a lawyer by the New York Times also raises the issue of his qualifications. And they go through page after page of how he's never tried a RICO case. He's never been a prosecutor pushing felony cases. He's been a criminal defense lawyer. They have real questions about what he's doing on this team, besides the fact that he appears to have been stooping Fani Willis. So ask a different legal expert and you'll get a different answer. But I'll tell you, they started with Stephen Gillers, who's the god of legal ethics, Rich. And he's the one who said, if all of this is true, she's in a world of hurt and trouble. So I don't know that she's committed a crime. I don't know that the case against Trump or the others falls apart. But I really don't see a way in which Fani Willis stays as the prosecuting attorney on this case.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know the legal niceties, but it's grotesquely unethical on its face, right? And another Trump enemy bites the dust who's been celebrated. Maybe she wasn't celebrated at the level of Robert Mueller or Michael Avenatti, but it's that sort of flame out. Robert Mueller knew everything. You couldn't mess with Robert Mueller. We don't know what Robert Mueller hasn't been revealed. Yeah, he's going to nail Trump to the wall. The walls are closing in. Then you get his congressional testimony. It's like, this is an old, confused man. There's no way he was making the decisions here. He doesn't understand the intricacies of his own investigation. Avenatti, of course, wall to wall on CNN. No one knows how to combat Trump. Like Michael Avenatti, he's in Trump's head. This case is going to bring Trump down, and then he's in jail. And I don't know whether Fani Willis is going to go to jail. But what an embarrassment! What a clown and a moron she is. And, does the case collapse because of this? I don't know, but maybe not. But it should never have been brought. I mean, this thing is a sprawling stretch of this RICO statute, which is broad, I think ridiculously broad. But you shouldn't be taking advantage of the law and trying to stretch it to nail one guy. And in this case, obviously, there's more than one guy. But it's all, at the end of the day, about one guy. And that's what we're seeing. I think the classified documents case, they have Trump dead to rights. Maybe you don't get him on the documents, possessing the documents themselves, because Hillary did it and Joe Biden did it and others have done it. But the obstruction related to that, if any of us did that, you'd be in big trouble. So that's totally fair game. But you bring that, it's a complicated case, and it's going to happen after the election, right? Instead, there's a rush to be the hero, to be the one that brings Trump down and nails him to the wall. And that's just not how the law is supposed to work. And now we're learning there are other ways in which the law is not supposed to work, but it has in her office.
No, a prosecutor under the ethical guidelines that govern us all as lawyers is supposed to behave in a way that avoids even the appearance of impropriety, even the appearance. She's clearly violated that legal ethic and more, given the kickback scheme. I mean, just bringing in a special prosecutor with whom you're having a sexual relationship would violate the appearance of impropriety. And even she ran for office saying she wouldn't do that. And that doesn't even count the money that she's been paying him as compared to the other prosecutors and him giving her what appear to be kickbacks with all these trips, Charlie. Just one other detail that I wanted to offer. They want to take her deposition in this divorce case, Fani's. She's saying that's an attempt to oppress me. I am oppressed by your motion to take my deposition. The court has said, look, you haven't taken Nathan Wade's deposition in this divorce case, and he's the husband. So let's do that first. And if Fani Willis has particular information she can bring to or add to what we get from him, then I'll handle that then. And there's just an interesting detail. An attorney for Jocelyn Wade, who's going to be the ex-wife, took issue with the fact that now they are Willis's team, Fani Willis's team, submitted in a recent court filing. They don't want her to be deposed, saying Wade's marriage was irretrievably broken long before Fani Willis entered the picture, suggesting his estranged wife, quote, confessed to her own adulterous relationship. And Fani Willis is the first one to raise this in Nathan Wade's divorce case, not Nathan Wade. And the lawyer for Jocelyn Wade came out and said, this is the first this has been raised after 783 days that this case has been pending. Fani Willis is the first to raise it. Quote, I have questions. It's all getting very unseemly, doesn't reflect well on Fani, but is it anything more than interesting grist for the GOP media mill?
Well, Trump is certainly very lucky with his enemies, many of whom start behaving like him. I mean, this is the great story of this Trump saga, is how many of the people who go after Trump end up picking up his worst habits and traits and exhibiting them themselves. She is not, in my view, getting very far with her defenses. I think Ruth Marcus ripped her apart in the Washington Post today. Fani Willis tried to play the race card, didn't really make a great deal of sense. She said that she was being oppressed. If so, I'm in favor of oppressing her. It sounds fairly routine. Well, don't you always think that when, it's like when you get told that if you don't, want to have a sexual relationship with a trans person, that's transphobic. Well, fine, well, I'm transphobic then. What am I supposed to say to that? Totally. Okay, I'll do it. I mean, if normal legal procedures are oppression, then I'm for oppression. But yes. she's not going to get very far with it because it's just so transparently grotesque. Now, does it end up derailing the legal proceedings? I don't know. I do think there's a bit of hope here from the Trump people that it will work like offsetting penalties do in the NFL, that the referee will end up saying, well, Trump did what he's been accused of, but Fani Willis is also bad. Those penalties offset, no yardage lost. That's not what's going to happen. Politically, though, it's going to help. I mean, again, I'm not defending Trump here. I think that it's a disaster that Trump's going to be the nominee. And I think Trump's done a lot of what he's been accused of. But you do not want to be in a position as a government or as a Democratic Party pointing to these allegations where the guy who has been in trouble can say, look at the person who is going after me. She did all of these terrible things. That is politically disastrous. And it actually, oddly enough, plays into Trump's central conceit, which is that everyone in America is on the take. Everyone in America is corrupt. He's just the guy who will say it out loud. That is not true. That is nihilism. But you want, if you're a prosecutor or a prosecutor's office or a federal government or a state, to be able to say, no, that isn't true. Look at the person who is in charge of this process. They are cleaner than clean. She's not. She's clearly extremely corrupt.
Sorting through your expense tracking, estimated payments, and all those deductions is overwhelming. It might lead to a failure to file or failure to pay penalties that pile up on your tax debt. Here's an idea for you. The attorneys at Tax Network USA have been lifesavers for many. Their team has successfully saved clients over $1 billion in tax debts. Whether you're in the hole for 10 grand or staring at a $10 million debt, they are there and ready to help you. Even if you haven't filed in 1, 5, or even 10 years, the expert attorneys and tax pros at Tax Network USA are equipped to secure the best settlement for you and to help you resolve all tax cases no matter how they started. Go to tnusa.com/Megyn. tnusa.com/Megyn, or call 1-800-245-6000. Contact them now as these tax debt relief programs are expected to change. Again, it's tnusa.com/Megyn, or just call 1-800-245-6000 and tell them Megyn Kelly sent you. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.